Peace. Okay. Olu, peace, peace. Today, man, I always start anybody that has anything that they want to ask me, anything that they want to say it. Um, it's one of those weeks where it's like a million things that are in my head that I would have wanted to share. I really got to start going back to what I used to do and take notes throughout the week that was specifically could be useful for this. Um, the last couple of years, I have been so intent on collecting the needs of the individual student post class session that I don't always plan the lesson for the actual day. Tomas Correa, peace. Any questions that you have though? I'm not sure if I ever saw you here in this cipher here. Anybody that has any questions about this nation, about anything, um, let me know. Let me know so I can answer these things. Okay. All right, my brother Sub, what's the science, guy? Like I was saying, there's always a whole bunch of things, and I think I always have to preface saying that one of the hardest things about learning this knowledge, though, is the reason that we give the supreme mathematics, the reason the Father made supreme mathematics was these truths about history, these realizations that cause lots of shock when they are realized to be true, the awareness of self, all of these things that change the way that you have perspective. How could they be used in a daily basis? How could they be channeled properly? And how could they be useful? And this is something that isn't really understood. It's why I spent so much time on supreme mathematics. It's why it's so important to, when we get to this day, the seventh day, that people know how to build what God is. Right? To begin simply with supreme being and to speak about the possibilities, right? That's peace, God. That's peace, God. For those that don't know, my brother Substance 810's a great MC. They're making some real substantial music, essential works, you know what I mean? And definitely if I have people saying like hip hop isn't the same, or the dumb shit I hear now, hip hop journalism is dead. Um, People's not really looking for music. They're not really looking for quality music. Um, People really don't really understand that. Today they'll know about famous rappers and stuff, but that's not how we found them back then. You know, everybody was digging, scrutinizing, and learning from others of how others scrutinize them, the details that were missing. We respected journalism. Respected journalism that they might be able to get a detail that you may not get. Because that's the real reason why journalism is fruitful. People think it's a disrespect to themselves and whatever their musical knowledge is. People swear they have a musical knowledge. Um, but that's not why journalism is there. Journalism is there to appreciate things that you may have missed, to get insights from the artist, and to add on. But anyway, I digress. Substance 810 is one of the greats today. So if you've never heard about him, then you're in for a lot of a weekend of wonderful music. Peace, Mr. G1. You said you have something you want to ask me on this Allah God Day, dealing with how I watching different sites. Others are using the term God or phrase peace God, and they're not even 5%. This happened, yo. By the way, to end that thing, substance. In my works, I always use the word essential MC, and I know that by the end of this year, substance is in that category now, because if you're a collector of hip hop in this decade, 2020s, quality collection, you need sub in it. First off, I don't get too. There's always fluctuations. By the way, I've noticed this throughout my whole life with the knowledge itself, which is over half my life. People always have. There's always sectors that will say peace or God. They'll be influenced. I don't have any problems with that. The peace God is very particular to us, so I don't really interrupt ciphers. I don't get that militant. I let it go because I see consciousness. But if I have an opportunity, I can't. You know what? I can't say recently that I heard a cipher that was 85, and they said peace God. I don't remember it. People saying that they were God, things like that. That happens a lot. I obviously interview and build with so many musicians in hip hop. Many of them have this consciousness where they see themselves as God, but they're not necessarily in our nation, though. And I understand it, though, and it's okay. I even make it clear to the reader, if I write about them, that they are conscious to this level, even though they're not in a nation. Man being God is a scientific fact, so it's okay if somebody else gets to that fact. When they say specific things like peace God, that's a specific thing that we say. That's specific to our language. So that would I definitely would certainly try to, if somebody, all right, if somebody's in a cipher that I'm around and I hear them strangers say peace God, I always have to intervene. Now, if they say, yo, God, I'm God, and this and that, I don't be like, yeah, that's the proof to it, and blah, blah, blah. This could be a savage just trying to say things to, so that doesn't mean anything to me. It would cause me to keep listening. However, when people say peace God, that means that that's our language. They're calling to us, though. So when that happens, I go to the cipher, and if they're not in this nation, then I'm saying, okay, because that's the greeting of my nation. So I'm just, I'm not saying anything, but you're going to get a piece, from us. And so, yeah, every time I've ever heard peace God somewhere, I always turn back. And most of the time, it's people that I know or don't know saying it to me. So it would be wise to to step back, to check what it was. But I haven't happened that hasn't happened lately. I'm trying to remember moments where they weren't. It happened once early on when I was in that flux where I hadn't gone to the nation, but I was studying things and I wasn't really sure what it was. I heard um, people doing that, but they were just quoting lyrics. I realized from, I think it was Mobb Deep or something like that, and I didn't interject because I didn't know the culture. But once I got knowledge of self, if I hear peace God in any cipher, I go in. I interrupt the cipher. I go in. Yeah, can't be saying peace God around me. You say peace God and they're just saying shit to her, I'd be like peace, peace, and like until they acknowledge though, you know what I mean? And then they realize like, oh shit, we calling out 5% this year, you know. But in general, I don't think that that's a bad thing because listen, if people say things that we say, that means that we teaching. that we building, and our language is out there and stuff like that, and that's a good thing, because there's many years where it's not out there. That's not a good thing, right? Peace to the God King Kamal, man. Yeah, man. And I was saying about my brother, the God Substance 810, definitely my brother King Kamal. You know what I mean? The unsung great of his whole career, like, and has some incredible records. Are you coming into my class? No, it's good. I'm just messing with you. Say peace to everybody.
Peace.
You gonna tell me your name?
My name is Rashawn Scott.
What's your righteous name?
True Allah.
Peace to the God.
Peace.
All right. The like I said, if you got young, bring them here. We build with them. There's so many young gods that we building with. People don't really see it though. You know what I'm saying? Denzel Shabazz. That's right. G1, you said, like, for instance, Little B has a song. I'm assuming a new song you're saying. That's titled I'm God, produced by Clams Casino, which is fire, and he's building. Wow. I'm not used to seeing Little B and fire emoji next to it, but however, he isn't, from my understanding, as 5%. You know what? You ain't gotta do that, True Light. Come on. You ain't gotta do that, True Light. It's all good. Don't make God a mystery. Ain't no mystery God. And you wilding out though. But yeah, I gotta check out the song. I'm not a big proponent of Little B. But people learn shit, you know? And people, when they try to, I want to say this though. What I found though is that there's a lot of people that want to say intelligent things, deeper things, and they find that the context to say them and deliver them is through our language, because it is the best way to do it. It's the flyest way, it's the dopest way, it's the coolest way. It's the simplest way to share complex concepts. And so this happens a lot, you know. Like I said, as far as music, I speak to them, you know. Peace of God. Everything's peace, God. And if I know them or if I have contact with them, I speak to them. Some people don't act like they don't know, they run away or something like that, by avoiding and shit. But at the same time, a lot of them though explain themselves, because for those that may be new listening, my current isn't vicious. I don't really go up to people vicious. I'm ready for the vicious, but I don't do that. I always keep it peaceful. I always give a warm current. I think no artist ought to give me a negative current, because every artist should want clarity to their music. There are some musicians that people over popularize their opinion. Like, for example, my GOAT, Miles Davis. Miles Davis was somebody that hated song titles even on songs. He hated explaining music, none of that. However, that whole concept goes in disagreement with what I see as journalism and the need for art and understanding art. And I think art is made for people to analyze and study. And it's important that artists themselves are able to speak on their art and give their visions of what they tried to do and what they couldn't. That's a learning process, and the whole point of art is communication, and this opens up the communications to things. And I'm just saying that there's a maybe an MC that doesn't want to talk or something like that, or people that are making music and they're wondering, like, at what level should I say certain things. Keep it simple, say what you truly want to say, and when in doubt, if what you're saying is not wrong, if what you're saying is wrong, certainly get rid of that shit. If what you're saying you're not sure if it's right, then that needs to be on the drawing board. I don't know why people think that complete freedom in the art, you could just say whatever and shit. That's not how it works. You can make a mistake musically, you can make a mistake and try something new vocally, as far as the sound, the delivery, tempo, tone, But what you say in content, nah, make sure that shit is right. And if you know it's wrong, then you gotta fix it. Peace, God.
Peace, God. Always in the mind.
That's peace, God.
Keep doing what you're doing, man.
Will do, God. Will do. G1, you also said, or even recently, I was checking the live on YouTube, and the guy was like a more brother, and a lot of peace God in the chat to the host and others to each other. And I'm knowing they are 5% is becoming like a conscious community term, a word saying, yeah, yeah. And this is why I'm very clear about what knowledge of self is. You know, all those terms, knowledge of self, what knowledge of self is, what all these things are, they get skewed and they get used. And like I said, all you could do is make sure that it's right and exact when it's in your cipher. Can't do anything else. Kasim said, especially in the early 90s, early 2000s, we heavily influenced everyone. Let me tell you something. We go to the best music that is in today. We're going to the so-called underground, what I call this invisible renaissance. And the majority of the greatest MCs are 5%. That's a fact. The most dominant MCs, 5%. The type of slang and the stylings that dominate, 5%. Whether they are 5% or there are people that are influenced by it. So, you know, we dominate the music still. We don't dominate it in the commercial arena, but we never dominated bad music. We always dominated good music, right? And G, when you said, and Little B is actually the Mount Rushmore for, wow, you're really killing me here. You put flame emojis, now you put Mount Rushmore next to Little B for blueprint of the current generation. Now, current generation what? He was ahead of his time. They're actually using his ways now when they used to hate Ninth Wonder. Yeah, I know Little B's career. I just don't like most of his music. I think he's overrated. I also think that you may be overrating his influence, though. I don't see a Little B influence though in the best music out there. Don't confuse a real impact with an influence though. You know, so we could say influence though, but impact is different. As far as like the quality of the music, I don't see it. You know, I see somebody that has just been doing any type of style that will latch on, and there's a ton of artists like that, and they'll make stuff to try to latch on, and if it doesn't, then they're on to the next. So if that song, you know, the one that you said I'm God, doesn't latch on, they're on to the next. And that lack of that, I take lots of points off for that kind of shit. You know, 1 minute they're a gay rapper, then the next minute they're conscious, next thing they're, you know, I'm not. Yeah, they're latching. You know, District 120, peace. All right, so any questions about this? Listen, this is the day everybody's wrong. So tell me, there's two questions. You can answer both, or if you answer them together, though, I'm going to separate them and tell you if you answer them right. But what is God and how are you God? It's the question, especially to all the original black men that might be on this thing. And if you're original peoples, if you don't know if you are, then this is the time to ask. Black, brown, yellow seed. Olu, you said majority of my influences as an MC derived from the 5%, even though I would find out later some of them weren't actually part of the nation, but had direct influences. Yeah. You know, let's not get it twisted. People think that a lot of these MCs, like, they're grown-ups making their own music, and they interpret things, and they also leave out things because it doesn't fit songs. Okay, so a lot of people assume that the content of the 5% is what's supposed to be represented in the song, when in reality it's the song that's supposed to be done justice to, whether by the beat, by its hooks, whatever makes it a quality song, you know. And that kind of songwriting is very difficult. And I thought that, to me, when I look back at, like, people see indiscrepancies, but I look back at Wu and everybody that had things wrong in it or writing it, everybody does. I mean, it's just phenomenal. It's phenomenal. The legacy of the 5% in hip hop. You know, it's a even on my own small scale, it's an honor to be a part of that legacy as well musically. You know, and I don't know where I fit in that, but certainly I would fit into those wanting a much deeper insight about this in a song. I don't know how much work that has though. We'll see, right? But what is God? Who is God? I'm gonna be here till 7 o'clock at least. Um, so at least another hour and a half here. Somebody, tell me what it is, right? Tell me what it is so I can tell you how you're right, how you're wrong, and how we could build on it. Wow, nobody's giving me the answer. They're waiting for me to give the answer. I don't have the answer. Especially for the second question. Why are you God? That one I can't answer. Right? How do we study this knowledge and say, how do we answer God? Well, God is supreme being. You have to be the sole controller, controlling this reality that continues to exist. So these are all things we have to write down. That's why I tell students to make a criteria sheet. What is the criteria of God? Speak the universal language of the universe that he is controlling. This universe that we know of, that would be supreme mathematics, right? In essence, all mathematics. What else would it be? I'm feeling good in the God day. So tell me, why are you God? How does it help them? How does it help us to know that we're the true and living God? Right? How does it help to not be egotistical? Right? These are things that we have to answer. Or make better questions to arrive to that answer. And one of the ways to make better questions is to make a criteria. Language, universal language, right? True and living God has to be composed of the biochemistry of the entire universe, though, and have a mastery of it, right? What is the conducting force that allows him to control everything, right? What is that energy? Okay, who is God? Okay, what is God? What is God? What does that mean, though? Right? Because after that, a jeweler, right? Correct. Now, why? Why is the black man God? Jay, you said God is the one who has control of his cipher in the most humble way. Yes, yes. You know, a white person can have control of his cipher in a humble way. Just saying. Again, I'm giving you counters that the 85 will give you. I may not even answer everything. I may get too lost in this role of the 85. Right? Sure. Okay. Is that Starker the MC? That's a good brother right there. One of the brothers that knows that he's God, has been around the gods, but I don't know if he's under the study, you know? If that's the Starker you're talking about, Puerto Rican. Let me know. I need some more stuff here. I need some more. Give me more. Yeah. I never met YO, but I built with Starker many times, you know. And Starker, he'd be around Divino, who's our righteous brother, 5% or two. So he's with, and Estinac too. So he's with brothers in our nation often, you know. I don't know where he's at in the study. I haven't seen him in a while. Like, you know. Okay, let me know. Let me know. How would you build? How would you build in today's mathematics to the 85? How would you build in today's mathematics if you was here with the elders? How? How would you do it? Right? Okay, how we doing? How we doing? How we doing? I want to hear an answer. Try to get me an answer. Tomas. Okay, you said someone who can navigate their energy to add on, elevate, and influence their environment. Anybody could do that. Anybody could do that. So anybody has the capability to do it. Not very many people do it though. Right? Not very many people could do that, Tomas. Right? But anyone can actually. And not have knowledge of self and not actually be the true and living God. Okay? King Kamal, you said all human life comes from the original man, not the other way around. All the different shades we see that we are now seeing as different races or different shades of him. He is everything in human form. That is part of the answer. Okay, that is not incorrect at all. That is part of the answer. Right? This is a reasoning why the original man is God. Okay? Right?
Oh, okay.
Iman, you said I am God because I am the creator of my universe. If as a man thinketh in the heart, so are we, then we have the ability to create a reality.
Peace, son.
Peace, God.
How are you?
Everything's peace, God. Ability to create our reality, the controlling force that allows for reality, the controlling. Okay, create our reality. Hmm. All right. Mom, what do you think I'm going to say about that? What would I say is immediately wrong in what you said, Imam? For you saying it to me. Even though we could find nothing wrong in there. There's two things. Iman, I know that you're a woman, so the original man is God, the original woman is the earth. Now, the original woman is a creator in her universe, though. And in her mind, right, as she thinketh in her heart, so is she, is also true. Okay? But to also be God means that one would have to be able to instigate life. Okay? That is only privy to the original man. Right? Another aspect here to look at, though, just be nitpicking ourselves to find deeper and deeper articulation and holes that we may study further. Right? What is the difference between when someone says my universe and all of the universe? Because if you ask me, Sunez Allah, I'm not God of my universe. That shit doesn't exist. Okay? God of my universe doesn't exist. Though. Okay? There's no such thing as my universe. This whole shit is mine. Everything. The whole thing. Okay? Right? So I have the most impact and control in my immediate cipher. But when we speak on these deeper terms, the entire universe is mine, the whole thing. It means that we're responsible for the entire universe. Okay. King, you said Allah is the all in all, supreme dominance of the universe. The supreme being with good orderly direction, everything in the universe, everything in melanin exists in the universe, the earth. Everything is correct there. It's almost finished with, if you have more, with defining very well what God is. Julie, you said second question. I don't know how you get a second question. We may not have finished the first one for you. I like that sentence. I don't know if you did it on purpose. You didn't do that on purpose, but the reason I'm God is because. You just leave it like that. The reason I'm God is because I have knowledge, wisdom, understanding of freedom, justice, equality, giving food, clothes, shelter to my family with a lot of love. Wonderful statement, though. Okay, but that's a classroom statement. That's a statement where you're using all of the things, 12 jewels, and putting it together, and none of it is true, but all of it. It's too abstract. I cannot touch it. How could you say this to anyone? Right? How could you say this to anyone? There's nobody. Right? Could there be a righteous white man that has knowledge, wisdom, and understanding of freedom, justice, and equality, and he also gives food, clothing, and shelter to his family with love, peace, and happiness? This is very possible. Right? Now, Jula, your answer for the second question is not wrong, but I don't know who it would go for. It wouldn't go for the 85. It would go to the 85 if you're doing one thing and it would work. If you're trying to stun them and ooh and ah them, it works though. It works. It really does work. Okay? But we gotta, and right now I'm giving you my classroom, I'm giving you my understanding, how I see it. We have to give them more than just the pizzazz of things, the razzle dazzle. Okay? The razzle dazzle worked a lot because it would make them come back. But the young in this society is a little different now. They have things that keep them where they're at. Usually it was negativity. So the desire to go get positive things, instant gratification, right? Sports, girls, whatever, go out there, get something, music, whatever it was. But this instant gratification for the young, can be caught, can be done without leaving, never coming back. Many people I have taught in the early years of my teaching, the early years of this century, they were in the neighborhood. They had easy access to come here. They had nowhere else, though, for some kind of stimulation, of excitement, interest. And so they would also come here. But they had to go somewhere to get it. We get instant gratification, though, now, just by the phone. Julie, you said, so keep it simple. I don't want to say that to keep it simple. What you said is simple. In fact, it may be too simple. It is too, I don't understand what that would mean. You know what I'm saying? What type of knowledge then? What type of knowledge? It's a special type of knowledge. I have knowledge of things and I've used it and I've garnered wisdom with them. And I've come to many understandings about them. And I've given myself the freedom to have justice and be able to have right of law and way in many things, bringing me to an equality that was not there before. And I've been able to bring food, clothing, and shelter to the family in varying levels at varying times, right? And all of it has been fueled by, when I look back on it, a love, peace, and a love and a willingness to get rid of confusion and a goal of a happier time. Any man, woman can say this as their journey. What makes the black man God? The original man. The original man. Because when you're Boricua, when you're light, if you happen to be light, if you're original man and you have to be light like me and go places where people would not understand that. It has to become more profound. Okay? It has to be more profound. We cannot just, right? King Kamal, you said that all the shades come from the original man. What I was taught by Firstborn Prince was that all the shades were already in the original man. So there's a difference, right? It is not that the shades, the brown and the yellow, are made by the original man. It means that they were always there. They were always there. They were never made, right? So this is important, though. That's peace, Julie. This is peace. What I'm saying is, how do we build it for people that can understand? And sometimes that doesn't mean just keeping it simple. It also means knowing how to break things down efficiently and with the right words. And then we're able to vary the words, right? In certain ciphers, you get really collegial. Other ciphers, you want to keep it on that gutter, street shit, right? Hardcore street grit, right? Where are we doing it? How are we doing it? These are the things. And these are things to work on. So I'm not going to just give you a script of how I would do it. It's different every time. But when you say, why am I God? Right? Why am I God? Is because what? It is because what we know of ourselves to be the true and living God, the supreme being, means that whatever we do has the impact and has a power over every single thing that is unlike anything else. It controls the reality of others merely by the influence of controlling ours. And it can be done without obstructing others and still be done. True and living God can master his cipher and not have to destroy it, conquer it, to control it. Self I build. What's today's mathematics? Self I build. Peace, God. What is God? And how do you prove that you are God? It's a question, the most important question. The core to this nation's entire dialogue with the entire universe. Right? Okay. Okay. I'm waiting. I'm waiting. By the way, I'm asking a particular question, but if anybody has other questions, please let me know. Okay? Because even if I'm focusing on one thing, I can veer into it another as we have these lulls, because I don't want to give any answers. But I'm going to go through a student's mind in dealing with the knowledge of self. Okay? What we should be looking for, what happens when we find certain things, all of these things. And I'll speak about it a little bit, but I want to deal with feedback. I want to deal with questions. Okay? Self I build, you said, what is God? God is the supreme mind, intelligence. Why? There is no intelligence higher than the original man. It is a source, basis. Okay? And then a young kid would be like, that's some bullshit. Why? Why would he be the main source? It's crazy. Right? See, we know things for facts, right? Like, for example, I saw somebody was posting, I saw a post where white people were saying that black people didn't invent anything. And if they did, it's not consequential to how the societies run. I mean, he could literally could not be more off point that if we took away all of black American inventions in just the United States, the society doesn't run at all. At all. Like it's barbaric still. It'd be in its own dark ages if it didn't have these massive amount of inventions that are crucial. You know? In the knowledge degree, it says the maker, the owner. And this is why we have knowledge of self, because we learn that we are the maker, and then we realize that we still can't own it. And most of us don't know we are the maker or the rightful owner. Right? Okay. Taking a walk. I'm standing up. I'm going to wait until I see more responses in there to look. How am I so disappointed right now? Maybe it's because no one wants to be wrong. Okay. Let's see. Everybody that wants to watch this, wants to be part of this nation, wants to say this and that about this nation. This is the work here. Iman, great question. How does God communicate with the universe to manifest reality? Understand that the universe itself, though, is a consequence of thought. Because it's a consequence of thought, it already is communicating back with the mind. So there never was a disconnection between the mind and the universe. There is no disconnection between the creator and creation. This is why we say this is why I say the original man is creator and the original woman is creation in their respective roles. There is an intertwined reality, right? Excellent question. Sherry Reggae, never seen you here. Very interesting. You said, I want to make up my own religion with my own belief. You know what? You can. And you're in a crowded field. Okay? Let's not forget Mecca is Harlem. And every religion that you could think of has been pitched to black, brown, has been thrown out here. And if you want to make up your own religion, Sherry, you're going to have to package it up. You're going to have to proselytize it. You're going to have to preach it and reach it and teach it and do and beseech your followers. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do that. Self-I built. You said because as you go through the annals of times, archaeologically, historically, scientifically, it all goes back to the same source, original man. He is the father of it all, manifested. You know what works? Self-I built. And these builds with people that are strangers. That's true. Archaeologically, history, scientifically, you sound like Pun. What was the song that Pun did that? I think it was with Black Thought, right? But to have a particular example with each, a profound one. You know what I mean? Right answer for the classroom, for the street, distinct examples. And if you really master the ciphers that you're in, you do it to the individual. Oh, he's from here. He's from there. We're in this area here, right? Oh, he's this age. That's how you do it. Particular things. G1, you said God is supreme being, arm, leg, arm, head, with supreme knowledge and equality. Allah, the one and all, the all in one, the all in all seeing, supreme mind. Allah, thought of mind, Adam. Mr. G1 just threw everything. He opened his pockets and said, he took out his ID, threw everything. Boom, boom. Everything. Not incorrect. Okay? Not incorrect. But you want to say that in a kind of way that it means something. The one in all in one. What does that mean to us? The all in all I seeing, supreme mind. How is the mind all I seeing? Right? These things you want to ask. Sherry, you said, I am here. No. I didn't finish. I don't want religion. Okay. I just messing with you then. Sherry, you said, I just realized that dark and light are both God. I believe that Lucifer will end up with God in the end, and God will forgive him. I do not believe God is a man. You don't have to believe God is a man. No one that I'm teaching or myself believe that God is a man. Okay, we know it to be so. And a lot of the language you're using, like Lucifer and stuff, this sounds Christian, biblical, the Bible doesn't say that God is a spook in the sky. The God doesn't say that is, and often in the Bible, God is spoken of as immaterial, but that means that it's not incomprehensible by most. But in specific passages, though, it says that man is God, right? Psalms 82, verse 6, for example, right? But if we're trying to figure out, though, who God is, we have to say, well, what is the supreme being and what is their role in this universe? Then we would know that we all have a role in this, though. And then we all have a role in the perception of what we see. And that what we see, though, the more that we study it, the more that we look into it, the more that we find that it is real. And if we are looking at a reality that is real, that everything is everything, then we have to look at what is the everything and what is the everyone that has an impact on the everything. And it is not outside, for then outside would need a separate home to be outside of this reality. And see, if God is a mystery, a being, an energy outside of this reality, then that means we would have to find the reality that they are in and why they are intruding in my reality. Right? So in this case, where would Jesus Christ be? Right? Where would Jesus Christ's Father be? Where in this reality when all of it is in space? All of it is in the reality of the mind. Right? That's peace, self I built. CIY is peace to God. Sherry said, I believe Jesus Christ, who is God, came as a man. Well, okay, all right, but it is too big for our human minds will ever understand. I don't believe when we die that we will know. I believe we still have to go on until we are back to the first destiny, which is God itself. So scary, but because at least, okay, the last you said unconditional love. Okay, at least I'm getting that you say at least you have unconditional love. Let me tell you something though. When you deal with religion like you have here, you've only let an answer be answered, right? And Cherry, it's fine. You didn't jump in disrespectfully. If you came into my classroom saying this, and we were out here in Harlem, right here on 127, and you came into my classroom and you just said, "Hey, listen, I think Jesus Christ is God," and everything you said, it wasn't said to me disrespectfully, and you would never be chastised for that. I appreciate that. I appreciate the different ideas and the different thought, and hopefully I could maybe leave you with something to think about. When we deal with religion, though, isn't it interesting that they all have a way of stopping us from questioning further? See, we worry about answers, but it's really when questions stop that we should be worried, right? The great scientists are never worried about answers. They're worried about developing the next question, putting the next question into words, and learning enough to be able to put the words into the next great question. Why is this important? And why is this stopped with religion? This is important because when we make the next question, we're able to put in our mind, how we could answer it, or we could put ourselves in the place, the cipher, among the people that could better answer it. How does religion stop this? You taught that Jesus Christ is God who came as a man. That means that he was something else, but it cannot be answered. You see? And now, what you said here, too big for our human minds to ever understand. This is not new to any religion. In fact, that's a premise to all of them. It is a premise to Christianity. It is a premise to nearly every sect of Islam. In fact, many different sects of Buddhism use the same premise and say that it cannot be fathomed, and that science itself is explanations for the unfathomable, which is completely incorrect, but that's what they say. Now, are we going to Never stop at the answer. Because the difference between someone that's agnostic and says there cannot be an answer for God has very little difference between a Christian who has already said it can only be science, and they will not find the answer. You see, this is a very big problem because it stops us from making the questions that could possibly get us to the answers and get the dialogue for the answer. So I question the validity of a religion completing um, completing your reality, one's reality, with an answer that still is acceptable even as it is incomplete. So we sit here accepting an incomplete answer because we got a decent enough answer to use, a calling card answer, you know? Okay? It's just something to think about. King Kamal, you said the story of Jesus is a story of symbolism. He didn't exist. Have you ever noticed that people who existed during the era of his so-called existence never saw or met him? That is true. There is no documentation like that. Sherry, you said science is insanely beautiful also. I do think it is. Right? And remember, many of the disputes of science is because it is being manipulated. Okay? It is being manipulated by the Western world, though. They manipulate their own fantastic ideas, like the scientific method and others, and they ruin it themselves. Self-ability said the mind is infinite energy, and that energy is utilized via the physical composition. It is harnessed and directed towards the accomplishments of goals and directives that demonstrate God's creative abilities. It is harnessed and directed towards the accomplishment of goals and directives that demonstrate God's creative abilities. Wow. Okay. Tomas, you said, I'm done with religion altogether. I take what's useful and discard what's useless. When we study the Eastern philosophies, we know that those are great examples to look at how things are useful before they become religious, you know? And it's very important that we identify as a religion once the questions stop. We know that everything that has been thought of can only have been thought of by the mind. We know that the thought travels. This is all science. We know that many of the ancients are in accord with this, though, right? Like the ancient people of Kemet, Egypt, and how the Greeks documented them and said the all is the mind and the mind is the all, right? In the Kabbalion I'm referencing now. Okay. Sherry, if your questions never stop, then you will eventually bang heads with the religions you have, whether it's Christianity or anything else. Okay. King, you said most religions want us to seek for solutions from everywhere outside of ourselves. Avoiding accountability and responsibility. Absolutely. There certainly is so much to learn, you know? And that's why it's about time that we start to really study those documents, study the sciences, study the explorations and all of these, you know? We keep saying that things are not beyond us. Our people keep saying that we can't fathom things like Jesus Christ or God outside of ourselves, Allah, when they say it mysteriously. And yet those in power are funneling science, though, to control this. You know that AI, one of these things that really shows the dominance and the power of artificial intelligence can have on us is because they're creating artificial intelligence that have senses that are not of ours. They're not the five senses. They're literally creating senses that take in information in a new, different way. because of that, right? Because of the way that they take in the information with different senses that we do not know, they're also communicating with these senses in a way that we cannot comprehend, right? We keep saying that there's a limit to things with our religion and there's only so much and only God can do it, and we ascribe it to someone mysterious, while the unimaginable is continually done every day by our oppressors. And they are only done by us when we realize who we actually are. Self-I Bill, you said, Sunez, how have you dealt with friends or families who talk down on other nationalities or ethnicities? How do you make it a teachable moment without division occurring with said family members or friends? Obviously, being Puerto Rican, I grew up in a household where I heard things about everybody. So, relatives, close family members, all saying things, whether it's about Black Americans, Asians, anything to make themselves feel different, justify the things that they have done or the shit that they go through, right? Whatever, right? Or just because they think it's funny. A lot of times I'll ignore. When it's family members that are older, I just ignore. I'm not teaching. Just like with my father, he was much like that, and I just didn't teach him. I had these arguments when I was young and knew that they couldn't really make sense to him. However, though, when certain things get really wrong, if I'm in a cipher, I definitely say something. I will say this, though. The older I get, the more people know who I am and what I do. I don't really get family members going in like that. People are well behaved around. I'll say that. So Sherry, you said it is within us. I know that, but everything is still so fascinating. I want to meditate with someone across the world, then talk to them after and see if we felt one another's energy. In the meantime, we could study energy even on a more profound level, learn about it, make it less of a mystery. Every single fear is rooted in a lack of knowledge. The more knowledge you have, even if something is fearful, dangerous, you're not sure what's going to happen. The more knowledge you have, the more you have a foundation to deal with things, right? Knowledge is infinite, though. So technically, we're not trying to find all the knowledge. We're trying to uncover all that must be used at this moment, all that must be born at this moment. So we have a direct responsibility into deciding what that level of infinity will be at each and every moment. That's peace, Sherry. That's peace. My channel here is mainly, I use the channel for these streaming this class I've been teaching since 2000 here at the Allah School in Mecca, the first school of the 5% Nation of Gods and Earths. However, there's some hip hop things in there, but most of my hip hop stuff is in different places, my music and my articles and my books. Malik, peace of the God. Self-I Build, experiencing it now. Have you heard the stereotypical tropes growing up? Of course, absolutely, all day. Understand, my father, right? Remember the perfection of my father. Remember the perfection of my mother. My father was a comedian. Like it was a profession he never got to do, but it was one that he never stopped doing, if you know what I mean. And he, sometimes it was racist. Like where I felt like, oh, you're just being that way. Like you want to put it on them. You want to justify this. You want to show hate. But at the same time, it also was the obsession with making a joke that he thinks is funny. So it was on both levels there. And as I got older, I just learned to let it go because people in my immediate family, they know where I stood on it because I did so much with it. You know what I'm saying? I'm with my black, brown family. Like, I'm the one that's with everybody, Um, if they try to belittle it, it's because they'll try to say that I'm only with original people, which is funny, right? Because dominate the planet Earth, you know. Um, but yeah, it's something that you're always gonna hear it. It's something that it's more important to how I raise my children as opposed to you know responding to everybody else. God is grantor of dominion. Devil is deviser of illusion. Okay. Olu, you said the kingdom of heaven is within. A passage from the Bible that many overlook. That gives a key insight to nature of what and where God is for those who have Christian beliefs. That's right, Olu. That's another great one. Jeweler, I recommend everything, every speech, every book, everything. The documentary of Vandana Shiva is wonderful on Tubi. It's the best thing on Tubi. I don't know if that's saying much. Um, but Vandana Shiva's documentary is on Tubi, and definitely watch that. Definitely watch that. That is consider that homework in this class. Um, everything Vandana Shiva is wonderful. Um, she's not only a revolutionary, she has the Earth University where they save the seeds, the varieties. She has fought against GMOs and the destruction of farmland her whole life. So just one of the great original women in the universe. Where is Bond? I years ago in she actually spoke here in New York at a lecture, and I was able to go, and it was wonderful. It was wonderful. It was huge. It was in a auditorium, very very large auditorium. I'm trying to remember where it was. I think it was in the Upper West Side. Now it was a lot of people, so it wasn't no chance where I could meet her and speak to her. But it was great. It was really great. All right. Jay, you said God is an identity, which means the most high supreme being, black man, not a mystery God. Yes, that is all correct. And that is also suitable to tell and build on most people. Just remember, get ready for the counter. Sherry, you said I have to meditate before it gets dark. That's why I'm out here and you came up. I'm doing these new meditations. I'm guessing this is where you come up as a suggestion. That's peace. Well, you willing you get much fruit out of that meditation. Malik, you said supreme being who has knowledge of himself, mastering his reality, realizing no external energy force is necessary for him to be. That's right. That's peace, Sherry. That's peace. Okay, like I said, I'm gonna be here till 7. Hmm. As I said before, like, peace to God. Peace to God. Passing, peace, God. That's peace, Sherry. Appreciate that love. Definitely sharing that love back. Peace, Sherry. People, we teach all the human families. When I'm teaching at this school, all types of people come in here, whether politely or rudely, and we have to know how to represent what we are, how to offer questions to the youth, not impress them to make them be things, but to teach them in such a way where they say, okay, that's something that I could think about, and dropping those type of jewels, very, very, very important, you know. All right, I'm here for another half hour, and then I'm gonna be heading on home. So G1, you said, do you think vegetable hybrids were created to make the organic more profitable? I'm shopping at the market. Just a thought. Um, what do you mean by the vegetable hybrid? I'm not sure what you mean by that. Because a lot of fruits that we have, a lot of fruits and vegetables are they're hybrids, and that doesn't mean that they're technically the word would be grafting in that sense, like the language, but it's not the same, and a lot of these foods are just as healthy, you know. A lot of times though, fruits and vegetables, they are made into hybrids, right? Or they're cross-pollinated and things like that. And a lot of that is because due to the human error, right? Just white people grazing the land and ruining it, and things like that. Weather, other things, and just trying to keep certain crops alive or vibrant. They do certain things like that, So no, GMO is a little different though. GMO was invented. It's a GMO really begins with pesticides, things like DDT, things that sparked the um, that sparked the environmentalist movement, like when Rachel Carson wrote the Silent Spring book. And these pesticides were really chemicals that were used in warfare, and then they had to be used. They wanted to use them in regular play. When they started to use these pesticides, though, they found that the pesticides obviously don't always work. So one solution was the GMO. That if we make the crop, if we splice genetically modified organisms that are resistant to the bugs that attack the crop, then now they'll be resistant. Kind of like a really retarded, warped version of a vaccine, right? So the reason that's important is because the genetically modified organisms didn't work though. The pesticides still had to be used because it didn't work at all, really, on the way it's supposed to. But what it does is that it makes it a unique product. So in that sense, yes, it makes them be able to sell products though. Okay. Not sell the organic label. The organic label is a response to that, right? But it allows people to sell the product, and it allows them to say that they can feed countries and feed the world if they have everything GMO. What happens is that this is where you get people like Vandana Shiva, the revolutionaries that are outside of that, because they're saying when you genetically modify the seeds, you're killing the seeds that are already in existence, right? And you also make the seed. You mutate nature just enough where only it is a seedless fruit, and it can only be grown again with that GMO seed again. And so what happens is that now you've made nature a product. So it was about making a product, but not necessarily the organic label a product. It's making a product of the nature that they can sell. Right now, blueberry is, corn. Let's say the main ones: corn, soy. Now these are things that are owned. So it's like nature being owned in this very grafted way, and I mean mentally devil grafted way, right? Um, the organic is simply a counter that people didn't want it though. So now you get, don't want pesticides, don't want any genetically modified organisms though. So now you're going to need a label for that, right? And now the things that are not, they could be non-GMO, but they still have pesticides, they'll be conventional. You know what I mean? So these labels, they're not the label wasn't made to sell more. The label's more of a result. The organic labels are more of a result of countering that. See how you said, how would I recommend God to teach parts of the human family coming from a completely different geographic, historic, linguistic, and cultural place? It depends on the framework. I mean, isn't that the goal? Isn't that the ultimate goal of this teaching this knowledge? Though, is people teaching people on different framework. One thing though is that the stronger that you are in the framework of that people's culture, that people's history, the stronger you are. My two daughters are also Dominican, so I have a strong background in knowing Dominican history and the cultural nuances. I've taught many Dominicans. You know what I mean? And so that's the main strong thing. You got to know their culture. You got to know what makes them 85, as opposed to how you be 85 or how the people you're coming from is 85. You know how it's all different ethnically, historically, and culturally, right? So you become strong, and that becomes more easier to relay the sentiments. Malik, you said by not letting the 5% teach them, they believe in the 10%, right? The born degree, the 110, they don't have to let us teach. That's being 85. Am I missing something? Well, that's not the born degree in the 1 to 10. It's the born degree in the one in the 40. So I don't know what you're saying you're missing. Self ideal. What are top 3 smoothie additives you would recommend for a child's growth? Oh my goodness. Calcium, magnesium is crucial. All right. The kids need calcium, magnesium, and they need vitamin D. Okay. They sell those. They sell those in there. I think that's crucial. The balance between calcium, magnesium, and vitamin D is very crucial. Somebody's playing Anita Baker in the school. Okay. All right. Tomas, you said a lot of vegetables we eat are hybrid. They are. That doesn't always mean that it's bad. It doesn't always mean it's bad. You know that the original banana isn't even the banana that we eat, though. That's not even the original banana. But white people, they ruined the crops and they didn't sustain them. And it was, if you remember if you're my age and you were a kid in the 80s and they had these banana shaped hard candies and they tasted weird and you're like, this doesn't even taste like a banana. That actually was the flavor of the original banana, Yeah. So anyway, little side note about the bananas. Kasim, you said today's math has allowed God, the supreme intelligence, manifested as the original man, supreme being with proper knowledge of himself. Now, when you say manifested as the original man, there is no difference. He could not be manifested in any other way. Always was and always is that. Right? Strong answer. That's peace, Juan. That's hopefully that's makes me useful here if I can clear up people's ideas. Could I elaborate on a jungle way of life and dirty religion? In the idea of dirty religion, it means that the religion has gone off the rails and is used to justify war, pillage in the name of that religion. Okay? When we talk about jungle way of life, we're just talking about the average person that has lost all knowledge of self, and they're not even a civilized being anymore. Okay? So that's different. That's different. Okay. All right. In the reference of dirty religion, we're talking about the oppressor's use of the religion. In the jungle way of life, we're talking about the state of the worst, the most downtrodden. I want to say worst. I want to say the most downtrodden of the 85%. Right? No, you can't take those plátanos away. Plátanos are good though, right? But all the concoctions, the mangú is filled with swine, right? Right? And even making it is a fatty dish though, right? Because it gets mixed with butter and all that kind of stuff. Even if you use vegan butter, it's still a lot of fat, you know? All right. I'm here for about 25 more minutes. All right. Give me a moment. Okay. Give me a moment. Man is mind. Mind is consciousness. Yes. Right. And we get into arguments there because in science, though, consciousness is something that is argued in the field. So seeing these arguments, though, also helps us devise more about it. That's why the science of neurology, the study of the mind and the brain, is a really burgeoning field to study, and there are many great books, you know. And because of artificial intelligence, these people that are neurologists, though, their work is being used, and they are using, and they are actively engaging in making this AI. So that's the science, was the science of the future when I was saying it, and now it's now. Avocados, yes. I had this week. I've had 3 avocados. Give me a moment here.
Your dog is waiting for you. Your dog went outside. A, 2, cheese, boom, meat, SP. Hey. They got a class going on here, Tom. You don't want to listen, right? Be quiet, man. They got a class going on. Hey, you slam the door, man. I'm not playing with you no more. I'm not playing with you at all. They have a class in there. Don't stop playing, man. They have a class going on in there. Stop playing.
Okay. Any more questions? Any more questions? Any more questions? I see some stuff here. Let's see if I missed this. Mind and brain. According to even neurology, right? The brain is just the vessel. See it like the radio. But the actual thought process, what the consciousness, everything that's going on is the mind itself. Okay. That's right. Somebody playing Mrs. Jones, yeah, you know. Let me tell you something though. When I used to be here and I used to hang out all the time, all the elders would be playing soul music, and it was one of the things that they ingratiated with me because, man, I knew all them old songs. Sunez is about them ballads though. Can't be playing on Delphonics, Dells, and Main Ingredient, Manhattans. You can't be going back and me not being there. But anyway, Ti, you said to my early question, I only know how to teach through math lessons and these other settings that might not be possible. What is the curriculum or even the teaching goal then, if not 120? See, that's the thing. I think that's where you constrict yourself. I don't go out saying I'm going to teach like all these people knowledge yourself. It just happens. I put myself in the position where if they want to learn that, they can learn that. That's not the goal there. The goal of 5% of those is to teach what he knows that is useful to whatever liberation that the people need at that moment. Okay? So when you say about teaching, you have to learn, everyone has to learn how to teach people without quoting 120, without having this language that is a particular dialect. So there has to be an ability to teach that without using the language that way. So like if you say that you only know how to teach through math lessons, how can you teach someone what knowledge is, wisdom is, and understanding is without using that format? Okay. Yeah, trust me, there are all kinds of ways of doing it though. 90% of the time when I build outside, I'm teaching people and they don't even know that they're learning this. And I can take that liberty because so many people that do want to learn this knowledge from me, they come and they learn it. By the way, it is really ill that my head here and my mind has the father right above it. I mean, that's just a real warped thing there going on. But we're here to teach the human families though. But when we get more stuck on saying they need to have this knowledge, they need to have this, it's never about what people ought to have in your respect. It's what you gauge that they could be given and shared with that immediate moment. And it also has to be with the idea that when you share things, if they're even going to be someone that could get this knowledge, they have to be shared things to get it. And that's why we teach what? Three things, right? We don't teach the knowledge itself first, right? We teach civilization, righteousness. What world are we really in? The realization of things that are around us and how it came to be and how it continues to be as such. But reality, you can civilize people just by teaching them civilization, just by teaching them reality. Then there are people that want to do things and need to be told what to do that is righteous, the righteousness, the right ways of becoming and being and becoming. But then there's certain cues that you'll get from the way that they complete these assignments that show that they're ready for this knowledge itself. So if you only know how to teach through math lessons, etc., that means that you're going to have a problem teaching 85. You're only going to be able to teach people that hear about this, right? We have to learn about humanity. We have to learn about the different cultures, though. We have to see the supremacy that is locked into their cultures and their ethnicities and all these things. Kasim, like you said, scientists are still arguing, tempted to figure out the origin of original mind consciousness. Some scientists argue consciousness doesn't exist. Yes. You know what's funny? A guy like David Eagleman, I have real beef with him though. Makes great books though. These guys they lie to us and tell us that these inventions they're making are going to be used to help people that are sick when their own hospitals don't care about sick people. You know what I mean? And they talk about all of these things as if the mind's consciousness doesn't exist, but they're okay with developing new whole senses and even developing a consciousness in the AI. So it's all bullshit. And most of these neurologists though, are full of shit when they're saying that. Anyway, Blood Brothers. Oh, okay. I've never seen that. Uh, um, I mean, unless you're referring to the elders, they used to call themselves the Blood Brothers. Umala, all of them, Wise Jamel, all the elders that were in the beginning of this, they was the Blood Brothers. Um, okay, Marvelettes. Who doesn't like the Marvelettes, right? Yeah, the Marvelettes. Yeah, my father was really big into doo-wop, and the oldie station always played lots of Motown. So I grew up with a lot of Motown, and the music I loved the most was always the ballads. When it came to doo-wop, Motown, it was always the ballads, the best. You know, that's how I became a soul man. Anyway, um, Hasim, you said, in contrast to being underwater anesthesia or in a dreamless deep sleep, while we're awake, we don't live in the dark. We experience the world in ourselves, but how the brain creates the consciousness experience and what area of the brain is responsible for this remains a mystery. Either or is good, by the way. Avocado, either or. Yeah. Either avocado. I prefer the more. I don't like the watery avocado. I prefer the other kind. You know, but both are fine. Clemente, peace. Let me know if I haven't answered that question. And Kasim, I get that thing. They're trying to find the specific spot, but the thing is that the brain also adapts, though, and so every part can be the part. You know, so it's interesting. It's interesting. You know, and again, it's a burgeoning science, so a lot of these questions are being tackled, um, good and bad. Right? Okay. You're talking about the book, right? The book. You didn't say book. That's right. The book. I didn't read the book. I have it though. I didn't read that book. The Blood Brothers book about Ali and Malik Shabazz. Um, um, how do I see the prodigal son? Is it best to let him be? Um, you mean like the returning person? Is that what you mean? Like in the Bible, the returning son? Every situation is different, you know. There is no generalization of anything, you know. Self-I build. You said, in a sense, then, as we learn, that in turn must propel us towards a greater understanding of humanity and humility. If lacking such, one can come off as arrogant and big-headed to those who are unaware. Do you understand that I read about all types of cultures, all types of histories? I spend most of my time reading sciences, all these things, because the more that we learn about everyone else, the more that we can connect these dots of how we separate, you know? And these are wonderful histories, you know? The greatness of the Black American inspires the student, inspires this original man student from a different country to how to persevere mentally. But when we start studying the original people and how they persevere, let's say in the Congo, let's say in in South America, we also gain an insight on what that could be, right? So it's crucial and it's mandatory. That's PCI. The Blood Brothers book. I don't know if you read. Did you read the whole book, Malik? Was it good? I have it though. I haven't read it because I've read so many things about Malcolm that I didn't start to read that, but it's one that I've been wanting to read too. And interested, very interested in that. If lacking, oh, self I built. You said if lacking, such one can come off as arrogant, bigot to those unaware of their true self. Every every time someone is learned, though, they have the potential to be arrogant. and condescending, you know. Oh, okay. There is a book, Blood Brothers, by the way. Yeah, yeah. I I don't even know if is that still on Netflix though. Shit, you know. Probably didn't watch it because I want to read the book. I don't like watching Malcolm documentaries, like that MLK and Malcolm stuff. Like I'm not trying to watch all that. You know, these are histories that are being told for the masses. I can't do it. You know, but I probably didn't watch it because I figured I'd read the book. You know, and so that I do that often with a lot of stuff. You know, even if watching the documentary probably would be easier. Okay, we're almost out of here. Any last questions that anybody has, please let me know. I didn't see the One Love movie, and I heard things like Peter Tosh not being in it, or it not really being anything to the depth of what he was about. And I, even then, what disappointed me even more of what I heard about it is I didn't hear anything like that really showed the depth of his music, like the quality of it. You know, people talk about like, oh, Bob Marley's music's diluted because they put rock elements in it and shit. But now people not looking at that wasn't done before. And that music ended up being really innovative. And him as a singer, as a lyricist, I wanted to see a movie with all that, you know, because Bob Marley, I could say he's one of my favorites, but I think he should be everybody's favorite, you know. And if you're, and no genre has a better gateway, absolute gateway into the genre than reggae does with Bob Marley, where you absolutely have to have Bob Marley, and Bob Marley absolutely leads you into everyone else, as far as opening up to different artists like Tosh and Bunny Wailer, but also and Lee Scratch Perry, and a whole rabbit hole there. But also because of his abilities, you know. Peace to the God, self magnetic, magnetic. I didn't forget about you. I've been so busy, I haven't even been able to like do all that, you know. But we definitely gonna build. But when One Love is out on the streaming things and it's on like wherever it goes, right? HBO Max or some shit like that, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna watch it and be disappointed, you know what I mean? And go through the frustration of that, you know. It can't. Nothing could be a worse movie than Hector Lavoe's movie, Cantante. That was terrible. That was terrible. They were playing songs out of order. They're playing songs from 1975 and 1967, like which is like imagine playing Wu Tang in a movie that's in the early 80s and playing like Wu Tang Forever. Like it's terrible. It's just terrible, man. Peace to the God, Infinite Mind. Infinite Mind. I've been making a note of a great MCs that are 5%. Yeah, King Kamo, my brother, Substance 810. Got the God Infinite Mind. About to come out with a new album, Chiseled MCs. And we're everywhere. We run this shit. You know what I mean? That's Peace True Self. This is all recorded. You can all go back and do the knowledge to it. Have me speak in super speed, 2 times speed, you know, whatever, you know. But I'm almost out of here, so please let me know. Type that movie in. Wait, what movie did I mention? No, I was speaking about One Love. Oh, the movie I mentioned was El Cantante. Yeah, this is not for you guys to watch though. That shit was horrible. It's terrible. It's terrible. Lavo, because of that, deserves now demands. He always deserved, but demands a documentary because that was disgusting. That movie, you know. Um, Mark Anthony, who's a great singer, great salsa singer. You know, I've seen him live. I saw him at MSG, and I saw him at MSG at its peak, 1997. You know, so I saw him when he was releasing his third album. After that, his biggest, best album, that second one, and he can sing, but he doesn't have the he doesn't have that classical Puerto Rican high pitch that Lavo has. The Jibaros voice. It didn't highlight the quality of what Lavo's music was like. How piercing his voice was to pierce through all of that. You know, Mark Anthony was a good choice to plan, but Mark Anthony not lip singing and us hearing the audience hearing Lavo's music instead of hearing Mark Anthony doing his music, that was the first big mistake, even before watching the movie. But at that time, though, when that movie came out, though, I used to build with Willie Colon, and Willie Colon though, already had me on this movie being whacked because he didn't have they didn't really use him, and they didn't really ask for his thoughts on the history at any level like that was suitable. So we used to talk about that a lot, and so the movie is just not, you know, it's not historically accurate at all. You know, but everything that J Lo does is narcissist, you know, and self-aggrandizing. You know what I mean? By the way, I actually don't build with Willie Colon anymore because Willie Colon became really, really right wing, and when he came to realize that I'm Sunez Allah, he saw Allah, he was like, no, no, I can't, and he never talked to me again. You know, and he actually blocked me on Twitter. You know, and this is after I wrote articles about him and he shared them and he loved them. He loved the way I documented the history. Um, but it was no policy. It's not like I said something that was pro Hillary Clinton or some stupid shit like that. You know, not because I'm a Democrat, because I'm not. You know, but he thinks all Muslims are evil, so he wouldn't know who the gods were and shit like that. But a lot of insights that he gave me though when we used to build though. A lot of insights, you know, like as far as songs that Lavo was on, and when he was doing the, you know, because real salsa has the soneros, they're really battling, and some of the people he was dissing, he would let me know who they were dissing, so it was really a dope time building with him. Good books and documentaries in Puerto Rican history. There's a lot of them. There's some errors in it though, but it's a good war against all Puerto Ricans is a real powerful start. There are some errors in there, but they're not glaring to me like the way people like try to complain. You know, it's worth definitely the read. But there's a lot of others though. I gotta think of them in my head. But that's the most recent. I could get a list for you. I have a whole bunch. You know. Yeah, but a lot of people aren't. You know. Yeah, a lot of people aren't though. When they're that age group, they weren't. You know what I'm saying? At that age group, they weren't. Like, for example, God, I'm reading Felipe Luciano's autobiography, right? The Young Lord, the Boricua Young Lord. And he had, you know, and became a great writer, orator, reporter. Um, he was locked up with some of the Harlem Six, but he still didn't get this knowledge right. So when he disagreed with it, he was disagreeing on a lot of levels that like, nah, you ain't really have somebody to spar with you like that, because he didn't really have. He thought his argument against for the mystery God Jesus Christ was lock, stock, and barrel, like official, and it wasn't even close. Like it was generic as far as like the type of answers we destroy. So it wasn't even. But so around that time, like they wasn't really the gods hadn't gotten around everywhere. And remember that you know, it wasn't as fast. Like back then it wasn't as fast. Like things don't trend, you know. Right? Dope 5% MCs. I mentioned it. Nah, I'm Substance 810. That's the God. I'm building with the God. I'm building with him. and King Kamal, of course, my brother King Kamal, Infinite Mind. Like I'm repeat them again because if we're here and we're building the class and these juggernauts are here in the chat and you're not going like writing their name in a search and watch some of these videos and doing a search in Spotify or YouTube Music to see what they got, like you're doing yourself a disservice, man. There was one documentary that I forgot, Pa que tú lo sepa. I think that was what it was called. Boricua, Pa que tú lo sepa, from Rosie Perez, which was a great documentary, actually. Very good documentary. And I like that one a lot. You know, to show people, you know. But yeah, movies, documentaries, yeah. Let me compile them. There's a whole bunch. I've been Puerto Rican a long time, so there's a lot of shit I've seen, right? Um, yeah, yeah. See, like baby arguments, like you could tell, yeah, like with the Tupac thing, great example, God. That, yeah, definitely, because like you could tell that whoever was locked up with him, man, they didn't have no skill, like they had no building skill, like he was like they was negative newborns, like well, how you representing us though, and you can't build against that, like yeah, so yeah, because that shit was weak. Yeah, Rosie Perez, but yeah, l- I don't know if that's the name of it though. Let me do a quick search with the name of it. Okay, yeah, yeah, it's a 2006 documentary. It's good. Let me, but yeah, email me and I'll more things I'll collect and stuff, you know, so I can give it to you. Yeah, bomba music is beautiful. You know, a lot of the genres of Puerto Rico are very much with resistance because they're very social as far as social documentative. Plena is filled with lyrics about the community, and that's really how. And there's also like salsa and son in Cuban son. There's a back and forth of rhyming in it. So Plena has that too, and they use a pandereta. You know, think of a more cool tambourine. Um, what's another genre? Puerto Rico, the Jibaro music. You know, Jibaro being what they call the farm people, the people of the mountains and stuff. Um, their music, and that's why Lavo was such a legend because one of the main many reasons. His voice was a classic Jibaro voice, very high pitch, very high pitch. You know, not really falsetto. It's not a falsetto. It's a high pitch. It's different. You know, and what you call it? That influenced the way he sang. And Jibaro music, that whole Lelo Lai chant, that's a Moorish chant actually. So the influence of the Moorish languages and chants, those are in the music, you know. So there's a lot of genres of, and that music was also filled with commentary of the community, you know. So it doesn't mean that all of it was revolutionary, but it definitely had, you know, it went beyond just the typical, you know, types of songs about love and things like that, which absolutely nothing wrong with that and absolutely necessary. Right, the Campos. Yeah. All right, so we are actually past 7. By the way, other 5% of these, Planet Asia, right? The God Powerful, Planet Asia, Estinac, Aldivino, me. Oh shit, I forgot me. Yeah, me. I got a little something, you know, late in the game, but I got a little something. Who else? Just to throw it out there and give everybody their just dues. And I'm opening up. Let me open something and give you just a little list. Trying to think. Ras Fresco. I can't believe I forgot Ras Fresco. AP the Overlord. Um, '07, the God '07. How to forget '07? God been right, man. That's my brother. '07. I'm actually finally did a song with him. Now that I'm doing songs, I did a song. It's so much fun to do. The God Rakim Shabazz of Wise the Dome TV. He does not rap, but he made a Wise the Dome compilation album that had 5%ers on it. The God Ja Magnetic, very hardcore shit. Ja Magnetic, A-Preem, the most hardcore MC you'll find, the most rugged you'll find. A-Preem out of Chicago. So that um so there's a lot of them though. You know what I mean? There's a kid up in Canada, Bamboo Twigs. That's the young god. That's a young god just learning now. Great MC that people don't talk about. That's God. King Arthur. Look for King Arthur. Uh, Ralphie Reese out of Philly, piece of God. Noah the Flood, Nowwaah, Nowwaah. Noah the Flood. He hasn't released anything recently, but Uncle John, spelled Unc instead of Uncle, Uncle, right? Backwoods Sweetie, the Earth, obviously, right? She's got great material, like top tier shit. Um, the God Mr. Atlas, like if you want rhymes that is filled with 120. That's probably the most that you get. You know, he be throwing whole degrees in there. Like he be wild. But that's some of them. That's some of them that are actively releasing music now. You know what I mean? Um, oh yeah, and I forgot. Did I say me? Me, yeah. Um, but anyway, that should be it. You go check it out. The God South Magnetic rhyme too. Waiting for Architect to come out with more shit. You know? Right? You said Sir Habu. I'm talking about guys that are rhyming now, though. You know, like actively, you could find them. And there's a host of great MCs that are wonderfully influenced by us that are at that stage of possibly going under the study and stuff. That they're dope MCs that I build with. Sauce Heist is the god. Ty the Dale is the god. That's the god. Yeah, that's right. That's right. You know, so there's many. You know, there's many. And I forget some of them, but trust, like you said, Sauce, and I know them. I know the guys. You know what I mean? So you know, I apologize if I get some of my brothers. You know? But yeah, let's build. Take some time to read things about other cultures and stuff too. You know, to find out about them, their histories and stuff. You know, great book to start with, by the way. What's it by Erica Lee? Let me get the name now. It's not. It's a generic. The Making of American History by Erica Lee. You know, read. I'm just giving you an example of type of books because when you read books like this, um, you start to realize that the oppression has just been shifting to different peoples on different levels that the devil's been doing, and you start to understand the histories better. You know what I mean? Supreme Cerebral, man. I just did a big piece on the God, piece of the God. You know what I mean? That's people talk about 50 Cent. That's a God that got shot in the neck, survived, and makes incredible music. God, the God is a survivor and is now thriving. There's so many. There's so many greats, and I know I missed more. You know what I mean? But absolutely. So that you all got music to enjoy from our family, um, and um, and we got stuff to read to study. And if you're dealing with 120, you're trying to get under the study, you're trying to learn, email me, okay? Sunez97. I'm gonna put this, and I'll be out the door here. Right? Very important. All right. So until next week, hopefully, willingly, we start building, and you start communicating with me. You know. All right. Peace to God, peace to earth, peace to everyone that was on here. It was wonderful. Thank you. Peace.